Yo, what is up, guys? We're back with another video. Hold on, let me go ahead and get my stand right real quick, because I just realized I have my stand up. And I ain't going to be able to read nothing if I ain't got this up here, right? So, today, we're talking about Week Hero. Now, this is going to be a long one. It's a lot to talk about. But look, we're going to go ahead and chop this up real quick. You need to go watch this show, okay? There's really nothing else to say. It's a good show. It's a teen drama with a whole bunch of violence and action in it, and you need to watch it. We got 2 seasons, and it's 8 episodes in the first one. I think it's 8 episodes in the second one. But you need to watch it, okay? All right? And then after that, you need to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below, okay? I'm going to say that now, because y'all don't even get past this part half the time, right? Because the last video got way more views than what I thought it would, but y'all didn't even get past the first like 5. Y'all didn't even get past the first 2 minutes for real. So I'm gonna go ahead and say all this now. Just rock with your boy. Have me on in the background. You don't gotta skip me. Just go ahead and rock out. You know, I'm new to all this, okay? So just let me rock out, okay? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Week Hero. Like I said, it has 8 episodes. I believe the first season came out in 2022, and then the second season came out in 2025. A long gap in between, but good show nevertheless, right? So we're gonna go ahead and go over the couple of main characters we got. I'm gonna throw them up on screen. That's gonna be the new thing. I'm throwing up on the screen so y'all can see, because my pronunciation is terrible. So we got Park Ji-hoon as Yeon-seon. We got Choi Hyun-Wook as An Soo-ho, and we got Hong Kyung as Bom-suk. And one last person, we got Kim Su-gyeom as Young-bin. Okay, now I'm sorry that I just butchered every single one of those names, but that's why I put their face on this. You know, I got their faces over there with their name on it, so you can just read it, because I can't pronounce it. It's funny because when I'm over here doing it in my head, it's like I can pronounce these perfectly, but I just can't. So back to it. We're gonna go ahead and go over the characters. So we got Yeon-seon. He's our main character, so I'm just gonna refer to him as Seon for the rest of the time. I'm not gonna say his first name, just Seon. He's our main guy. He's an intellect. He's a smart kid. But he also got that dog in him. He ain't gonna back down from nobody. You know, he might look like he can get tossed around. He is gonna get tossed around because he's a small dude. But he ain't gonna back down. That's my boy, Seon, right? Then we got An Soo-ho, and he's just a dude, you know, rough, tough little dude. You know, he get to his money. He do what he gotta do. He go work 5 jobs, whatever. But guess what? You ain't gonna mess with him because he will put the paws on you, okay? Then we got Bom-suk. He's a little rich boy. You know, he comes from a rich family. But unfortunately, it's not a good family. It's, you know, his dad be putting the paws on him every now and then, more than every now and then. You know, he got bullied back in his old school. He just a little weak boy. So, you know, you got the perfect trifecta. You got the weak boy. You got the weak boy, but he ain't playing games with you. He will put hands on you. And then you got the strong boy that's all like, hey, don't mess with my boys, all right? And then we got Young Ben, who is the antagonist of this show. You know, he is the center of a lot of the drama. We don't like him. He's also a rich boy, but he's the rich boy who be getting on your nerves, okay? That's what we got. All right? So like I said, we got 8 episodes to go over, and we're going to go over the first episode. I'm not going to go over every single episode in full detail. Or I'm going over every episode, but, like, I'm going to leave things out. So, yes, forgive me. I'm going to be looking down here now. Keep in mind, now, I'm not good enough to be able to remember all this on top of my head and say it directly in the camera. I got to look down here, all right, gang? So, we about to go over episode 1, right? So, look. Young Ben, right? That man picks a fight with our main guy, Seon, but it gets stopped by Soo-ho. And that boy Young Ben didn't like that. He didn't like that. So then he calls on our boy Bom-suk to go ahead and handle business with Seon. And also, let me say, you'll get to it at some point, but Seon, Bom-suk, and Soo-ho are all friends, but you know, this is the first episode, right? So, like I said, this boy, Young Ben, he tries to poke at our boy Seon because he can, you know, he's a rich guy. Like, let me just get at this dude because I can, right? And our boy, Seon, he stood on business. And he's like, look, bro, you're not gonna sit here and mess with me, right? And so he's like, you ain't messing with me. Like, we're gonna do what we gotta do. My man grabbed the pen, he was getting ready to stab dude in the neck, right? Sorry if that just went, I saw the red light. But even to stab dude in the neck, he was like, you ain't messing with me, right? But our boy Soo-ho steps in, you know, he pushes him away. He's all like, look, you need to chill out. We're not doing this, right? Like, we're not doing this fighting or whatever, all right? So, with all that being said, you know, our boy Young Ben, he feels a little embarrassed. So he's at his little club, whatever. He over sitting here partying, and he gets mad and he calls up his cousin. He's like, hey, cuz, this dude in my class, Even getting on my nerves. So do me a favor. Go ahead and give me some patches, some Fent patches. And somebody suggested that they said he seemed like he's just unaffected by nothing. Him and his little gang, Young Ben and his gang, the bullies. They were like, bro, what gets to this kid? And they said his grades. So if we make him mess up on his grades, he'll lose it. So that's why he gonna get some Fent patches. I think that's what it is. He got some Fent patches, right? So then he goes ahead and he gets what do you call it? He gets Bumsock to go ahead and slap a Fent patch on his nigga, like, or else, I'm gonna beat your tail. And Bumsock at this point is new to the school. He just transferred in, so he was immediately bullied, just kind of how Sion was, but Sion has already been there. But since Bumsock was the new guy, the new frail guy, he's like, I bet we're gonna use him to get to Sion. So he hands the Fent patch to Sion, like, look, you're gonna do something for me. You can go ahead and smack that patch right on his neck, all right? And you'll come up with some excuse while he's taking the test, because he was taking like a practice test. And Sion don't fail these tests, y'all. Y'all hear me? Sion, he's an intellect, like I said. So he's taking the test and he's just tripping. He's like, bro, I can't focus. He ends up getting a whole bunch of questions wrong. And then when they're going over the revised state, he realized he got all these questions wrong. My boy, listen to me, y'all. He stood on business because he knew exactly who was messing with him. Young Ben, this is your last time messing with me. That's what he was thinking. This was your last time messing with me. My man grabbed a book. I ain't got no book. I do got a book. Hold up. I'm going to grab the book. My boy grabbed the book. Hardcover of Monsters We Make. Walked up to that boy. Smacked him. Boy, smacked man in his nose. Boy had him leaking. Started pouring in the dude. He was mad. And that's how episode 1 ended, boy. That's how it started. That's how it ended. You mind? Because they started off with a flip flashback. That's how the episode ended. Was like that. That boy, like I said, he stand on business. So he is weak looking, but he will beat your tail. He is gonna fight for his rights. All right, he ain't gonna go out sorry. He ain't gonna go out sorry. All right. So we get on to episode 2. So Sion reveals the truth about Young Ben, and Young Ben got to seek revenge because this man just can't go down. He can never just sit quietly after getting embarrassed, right? So Sion broke Young Ben's nose, right? And then his mom got mad, like, hey, like, you broke my son's nose, blah, blah, blah. And Sion just tells his mom what happened. Like, look, your son got drugs and put them on me. And I am the victim here, okay? So long story short, he's like, look, I'm the victim. And that didn't sit right with my boy Young Ben. And then, Young Ben didn't come to school the next day. And then 2 of Young Ben's lackeys, some more bullies, they pull up on my boy Sion. And Sion said, hey, let's go handle business real quick. And Sion, like I said, he 10 toes down. He said, bet. Go meet me in the bathroom. Let's go. So they get up. They walk to the bathroom. And everybody's following behind him, keep in mind. So everybody's following up behind him. And essentially, he puts them in their place. He don't hurt them. But he let them know that if he got to, he will. So, they back off. They get scared, whatever. But then we get back to Young Ben, right? We get back to Young Ben. And he calls his cousin, right? He's like, look, we need to take care of business once again. We need to take care of business one more time. So he calls up his cousin. He's like, look, there's this dude that's messing with me. I'm trying to mess with him, but he beat my tail. He broke my nose what he did. So we need to go ahead and handle some business. So long story short, Sion ends up getting, thrashed by this cousin because he a big dude. So he getting thrashed. He trying, but like he can't really do nothing. But our boy Boomsuck finally grows a pair. And he's like, hey, yo, Bumsuck. Or he's like, hey, yo, Suho. Suho's just over there sleeping. Suho always come in when you need him to. Like, he's just chilling. They're not really friends at this point, but he's like, hey, yo, Suho. That boy, Sion, is over there getting thrashed. And he's like, bro, what do I care? I don't care. What does that got to do with me? He's like, bro, he's getting thrashed. We got to go help, buddy, and I'll pay you to help him, okay? So Suho's like, all right, bet, I'll get up now because he'll do what he got to do for his money. So he get up, he run over, and that boy Suho put the mittens on that man's cousin and everybody else that was around. Long story short, he put the paws on them and they walk out happy. And that's the end of episode 2. Just like that. So now we're on episode 3, right? And we got this man named Kim Gil-soo. He's like a little ringleader. He's like a little boss, right? And you remember the little cousin I just told you about? He works for Gil-soo, right? So they're essentially a gang. These are the gang, the classic gangs that you get in these shows. He's the gang leader, Gil-soo, right? So he learns that, by the way, our guy's name is Sokdae. That's his name. That's the cousin's name is Sokdae. He learned that Sokdae and his gang were thrashed by a nerdy kid. And he was mad because like my boys can't go out like that, not my guys. Because what that made me look like, right? So Sion is hanging out. The boys are all hanging out, right? And like I said, the gang takes interest in him because it's like, look, we got to go ahead and handle business, right? Young Ben, because like I said, he's always just in the middle of some bullcrap. He lures the three of them down into a little like parking garage, and essentially, what you call it, Gil-soo pulls up on him and explains basically like, look, this is what we're gonna do, right? You put my boy in the hospital and you gotta pay his medical bill, right? And I need $5 million by, I was about to say by tonight, in 3 days, right? So he said, look, y'all gonna give me that money or else. And he ended up cutting up Suho. He's like, look, you don't give me that money or else. And that was just simple as that. He made it very simple. So every night for those 3 days after school, during school, when they were walking by home, them dudes were there. So they knew where they lived. They knew what they did. They knew everything. They knew everything about them. And so the boys had to come up with a plan because they said, hey, these people know where we live. And like, this is serious. Like, we can't just not do something because they'll hurt our family. They know where we live. We can't even sleep through the night. So they end up coming with a plan, and they all have different thoughts about how the plan should go, which ultimately led to our boy Suho getting captured, okay? Because, you know, they're kids. They're dumb. They go and think so much. But in the end, it ended up leading up to Suho getting captured, and our boy Sion tried to call the cops, but due to a lack of evidence, it didn't work too well, and he ended up getting sussed out. So that's the end of episode 4. He calls the cops. Cops don't care because like, there's no evidence, and they're like, you're just a kid, you're being stupid, and they were like, whatever about it, right? And that's the end of episode 3. Move on to episode 4, right? So first half of episode 4 is our boy Ji-hoon, our boy Bumsuck, and then 2 gang members who are trying to get out of that life. And I'll go ahead and say, so the people that are trying to get out of life, you got we got Young Ben, remember him? Right? We got Young Ben and we got Young Gi, and this is a girl that took interest in our girl Sion, our boy Sion, but those 2 want to get out because they were kind of forced in here and they didn't really want to be a part of it, but now they found an opportunity to get out. So they all pull up and they're like, hey, Gil-soo, let's get to it. So they all scrapping, you know, it's just a long, drawn out fight scene. And in the end, Gil-soo gets arrested, long story short, right? So Bumsuck gets tested by his father, and his father's like, look, because his father, like I said, is a assemblyman. He's a very powerful man. So he's like, this is the dude that's been messing with you, Gil-soo, right? So go ahead and handle business and beat his tail real quick then, right? But Bumsuck's not doing it. Like I said, Bumsuck is very soft. He's not one to fight. He's not a fighter. He will get beat before he ever beats on somebody. So he's like, it's okay, Dad. I'm sorry. It's whatever. And his dad wasn't going for that. He's like, all right, look, let me show you how to get down to business. And he ends up, you know, putting the mittens on that man, Gil-soo. He's like, this is what happened when you mess with my fam, all right? I keep that in mind. So that's it. That's really it. Our boy Bumsuck ends up getting beaten by his dad for not beating up the dude. Long story short. And Sion, our boy, what do you call it? Suho and Yonggi, they all just chilling, eating burgers, just chilling, you know, living life, right? And that's in episode 5. So it ends with like a clear like split. Our boy Bumsuck is getting abused at home while the other 3 are just chilling. And that's how the episode ends, right? So then we get on to episode 5, and this one is long. So bear with me here. So Bumsuck runs into his bullies. I'm going to recap. He runs into his bullies at his old school, and Suho makes them apologize. So Bumsuck is chilling, right? They're all at a little restaurant, and Younggi is now part of the group. That's the girl who has an interest in Sion. They're at a little cafe chilling, and Bumsuck kind of dissociates. Like he kind of has like a little psychopath, a little moment. He disassociates. He's sitting there watching, looking at the 3 of them hang out. And he's all like, those are my friends. And like he was kind of like, why are they not hanging out with me? What's going on? And like he kind of gets in his own head because he has these terrible insecurities because, you know, he's been getting beat on and abused. So his brain just works a little bit different. So he's looking at them and he's just feeling jealous. Like, wow, they're not hanging out with me. This is stupid. Then they end up going to karaoke. And while they're at karaoke, our boy Bumsuck's like, I'm going to get us some drinks. And he's like, all right, bet. And so he goes out, he gets drinks, and he ends up running into some bullies from his old school. And he's like, oh my God. And he sees these bullies and he gets scared. And he runs away. They call him. And his phone is inside the karaoke room. And Younggi, she picks up the phone and she's like, hey, who's this? And he's like, oh, are you guys in karaoke? He's like, yeah. Since it exposes where they are, they pull up when our boy Bumsuck gets back to the room, and he gets mad. He lashes out like, "Why'd you pick up my phone, you stupid idiot?" Cussing her out and everything. And she's like, "Man, I'm not doing this." She gets out and she leaves because she's angry. Like, "Why are you cussing me out?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, you need to chill out, dude." Then his people pull up and they're like, "Oh, Bumsuck, what's up?" And these are his old bullies. So they're like, "Oh, what's good?" And he's just frightened because these dudes were beating on him. So he was scared and everything. And they end up leaving because our boy Suho, like I said, he don't play that bull crap. So he's like, "Look, y'all gonna have to get up out of here, all right?" And they end up leaving. And after a while, he went back to school the next day, right? And he's just on edge. And there was a guy sitting there talking crazy or something, and he pulled up. Our boy Boomsuck, and he's a chill guy, but he snapped. He's like, "Hey, bro, what you talking about?" Like, he pulled up like he was about to do something. And Suho had to calm down. Like, "Hey, bro, calm down, man. Calm down. Relax. Like, you don't need to do nothing like that, right?" And so he backs off, but he's mad, though. He's mad. So Boomsuck's like, whatever. And he stops going to school after a while. He just stays home because he's getting called and called and called by those people at his old school. He's just getting blown up. So he essentially just stops going to school. And then after a while, he ends up going off on his own or whatever. And he ends up, or sorry, that's not what happened. What happened was he left because Suho found him. Suho was like, "Look, you need to go to school." And so they said, "We'll handle this business, right? Let's call those people up and I'm going to get them to apologize." And they apologized. And Bumsuck snapped again. Like I said, he's tripping nowadays. So he's tripping. He ends up trying to, like, he starts punching on dude. Because he's just angry. He's like, you essentially ruined my life. You beating on me. He just starts punching dude. And Suho pulls him all like, "Hey, chill out. You're doing too much. You are doing too much." And once again, Bumsuck don't like this. Like, "Bro, you don't stop telling me what to do. You won't stop little bro on me. You hear me?" Like, that's essentially what he did. And he stormed off and everything by himself. And Suho's just like, "Bro, I'm just trying to help you out." And then group ends up finding him, right? The old bullies. They're like, "Hey, Boomsuck, what's good? We about to beat your tail again, gang, because I didn't appreciate how you just treated me." But the new bullies from his new school just happened to be there. And they're like, "Oh, these the rich kids. Let's beat they tail, because they like for real. They like for real. Like, they not really strong. They just were bullying on the weakest person at their school." So they're like, "Bet." So they took them down to a little parking garage. They beat them up. And they're like, "Hey, Bumsuck, go ahead and get you some. Go ahead and get you a couple licks in." Bumsuck felt great. He's all like, "Oh, yeah, man." He got him a couple licks in. He's like, "Yeah, that's what we like to see." And they essentially took him drinking. They took him to a party, introduced him to some girls. And that boy Bumsuck is feeling tough. You hear me? Like, he's like, "Oh, I'm the man. I'm the man now." So Bumsuck essentially cut off his old group for this new group because, they took him partying and everything, and he's just feeling on top of the world with these new people. All right? So that's the end of episode 5. That's how it ends. It essentially ends with Suho and all them, like Suho and Sion splitting up from Bumsuck, or more like Bumsuck splitting up from them. So, episode 6, right? So, Suho and Bumsuck friendship essentially fails, and Suho tries to put it together, but Bumsuck ends up making a plan that just shatters this friendship, all right? So he starts hanging out with his new crew, like I said, and they end up having an encounter at lunch where the group, like these are the bullies plus Bumsuck now. They show up at lunch, and Suho's at the front of the line, and they just try to skip the line. And Suho is not going for that. He's like, "Hey, y'all need to get to the back of the line." And Suho, everybody did after a while because Suho, like, he's strong, so he ended up pushing one of them back, like, "Get your tail to the back of the line." But guess who didn't want to back down? That boy Bumsuck. And he's all like, "Listen here, Bumsuck. Either you get in line, like, physically and mentally, like, get in line, like, get back with us and physically get in line, or I'm gonna have to handle business." And he really put it like that. You either get in line or you get dealt with. And Boomsuck tried to, he tried to beat Mr. Big Man. Like, "Man, what you talk about? I don't care what you talk." That boy got slung across the cafeteria, boy. Like, that man got, like, he grabbed him by the scruff on his chin, just yogging that dude across the, like, "I told you, get in line or get dealt with." So that boy Bumsuck is mad because he just got embarrassed like that by Suho, who's been little bro him for a long time now. So what does Bumsuck do? He ends up hearing about this MMA guy, because when they were out drinking, right, he met this guy who's a part of, like, the UFC or whatever, and they fought before. The MMA guy or the UFC guy and Suho, they fought before, and he lost. So he kind of wants his get back on Suho. So that boy Bumsuck has an idea. He said, "Okay, hold up. We can make them fight. And we can make sure that guy wins, because I need that boy Suho to get humbled one time." So He essentially cuts the brakes off of Suho's bikes with his little group of lackeys because he's being an idiot. Cuts the brakes off. Man, Suho gets in an accident, which was almost really fatal. And, he feels like, oh, crap, that was real bad. My fault, gang. But he didn't actually say anything. He just stayed in the back and he just ran away like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. That man could have died. But him being stupid, like I said, he said, you know what, whatever, it doesn't matter. So then he plans further. He's like, Suho's birthday is coming up on Sunday. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the UFC fighter beat his tail on his birthday. So essentially he sent a message trying to say, hey, come fight or whatever. He ended up having Young-gi. So Young-gi, he essentially called Young-gi up and said, hey, Young-gi, I'm planning something for our boy Suho. Come meet me. And Young-gi was like, okay, yeah. It's like, I haven't seen you in a while. But like, she's not thinking anything of it because she doesn't think it's this bad. So she pulls up and gets captured. And, he sends a photo. Hey, I got your girl, whatever. Come. And I'm not even going to explain that. But yeah, he's like, I got your girl. Yeah, what you going to do now? But Sion's the one who has the phone, not Suho. So Sion pulls up instead of our boy Suho, and he gets his joint beat because he just can't fight that many people at once. He has his little tactics. He's a very good fighter. He fights dirty because he ain't gonna go out like no sucker. But it's too many people for him to really get out. Him and Young-gi try to run away, but in the end, it leads to him getting put in the hospital because he got his joint beat up by a whole bunch of people, and there's nothing he can really do about it. And that's the end of episode 7. And by the way, Suho does not know what is happening here throughout all of this. So 2 more episodes. Episode 7. Sion, like I said, he found himself in the hospital, and our boy Suho was like, what's going on? Like, he noticed that Sion started coming to school, and he's like, something's not right, because this man's always going to be at school. He ended up showing up at his house. He saw he had a cast on. He's like, why do you got a cast on? And so he just started investigating. He went to Young-gi. He's like, Young-gi, what's going on with our boy? And he just did a whole bunch of interrogating, and things weren't adding up, and she ended up leaking a little bit of information. So he's like, oh, so he got in a fight. So then he ends up pulling up on the lackeys who he knew that our boy Bumsuck was hanging out with. He's like, hey, and he put the mittens on him. He's like, hey, tell me what's going on, right? So they end up telling him what happened. Like, hey, this is what happened. That boy Bumsuck, he got this to happen, and he told us to do this, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it was all Bumsuck. It's all Bumsuck. We didn't do nothing. So he's like, all right, bet. So he confronts Bumsuck, and he's like, hey, look, we're going to have to get this handled because you got our boy Sion in the hospital right now. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. So our boy Bumsuck's like, bet. All right, meet me at the fighting ring. Meet me at this little boxing ring, and we'll go ahead and handle business there. And so he pulls up, right? Our boy Suho pulls up, like, all right, bet. We're going to go ahead and get this handled. So he pulls up, and it's a crowd full of people. And like I said, Suho don't play games. So he proceeded to put the mittens on the crowd full of people. And then at the ring, when he finally put all them people down, he was looking at our boy Bumsuck. He's like, I'm about to beat your tail because I got to beat some sense into you. That's really what he wants. It's like he doesn't even necessarily hate our boy Bumsuck, but he's like, I need to beat some sense into you because you're acting real stupid right now. So he sees him. After he got done beating all them up, like, now that I beat all of them up and I'm going to beat your tail, let me handle this guy, the little UFC fighter who wants to fight me. So they get in the ring, they scrapping. Like I said, Suho's a little hurt, so it hurts him up a little bit. And then one guy ends up like tripping him in the middle of the fight. And let's not forget, what do you call it? What's the little entitled rich kid's name? Our boy Young Ben is also there through all this, or he knew about all this. Let's keep that in mind. But yeah, so one guy ends up pulling our boy Suho's leg. He falls down, and dude gets in, and he starts capitalizing and beating on him. And essentially, everybody ends up dogpiling him, and they just starts kicking him. Suho while he's down, and he's just getting clobbered in your face full force by people with shoes on, and in your stomach. That joint gonna hurt, obviously. So Suho is just laid out. And after a while, he's completely unresponsive. And it's like, oh crap. He did. Because you had about 5 people unrelenting, just beating the crap out of a man while he's down. So that's the end of episode 7. So Suho pulls up to try to, put Bumsuck in his place, but unfortunately gets put down in the process and is, from what we know, dead. He's dead. He's not moving. He ain't breathing. So now we're on to episode 8. Our boy Sion snaps because he just found out that his boy isn't dead, but he's brain dead. Boy's in a coma. So Sion is mad. He's like, all right, I got to find out what happened, and I got to go handle business. So he pulls up on our boy, Young Ben, right? He's like, look. He pulls up at a school. By the way, Young Ben transfers schools after a while, after all this. He transfers schools. So this man pulls up at said school and just starts bashing man's head into the desk. Like, you don't tell me what happened or else. And it's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even there, bro. I'm sorry. Don't do me like this. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. But I tell you what did happen. I only seen the video, and that UFC fighter, he's the one who did it, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, and it was also Bumsuck. Bumsuck's the man who came up with the plan in the first place. So it's like, it wasn't even me. It's Bumsuck and UFC, man. Go handle them. So our boy Sion said, all right, bet. I got you. Hit him with that one last hit. Put him out. Then our boy pulls up on UFC, man, while he's in the weight room. Like I said, our boy Sion, he get to business. That man pull up on dude. He was fighting for his life. He was getting thrashed, truth be told. But due to his dirty antics, he was able to get out of that fight. He used whatever he had at his disposal when swung it at him to get this man beaten in that fight. And it was very grotesque and rough. Because you got to think about it, these are some high schoolers. And this man is out for blood. And he's willing to grab a 45-pound weight and slam it against another dude's head. That's how bloodthirsty our boy Sion was. He was mad. So he ends up getting done with that, right? That was essentially it. Ain't really much to it. He beat a man, not to death. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I'm not 100% sure. But he put it all on the table with that last guy. And he never got to confront our boy Bumps. And then the show ends right there. All for season 2. Now that's it. Ain't not much more left here. There's nothing else here. That is the show. That is Weak Hero. Like I said, it's a good show. Now, I told you what happened. I gave you a review. Yes, it's with spoilers, so you know what's happening, but you still got to watch it so you can fully understand what I'm talking about and what happened here. So go ahead and check it out, right? So you get to watch this episode, but then you get to watch season 2 on your own before I even drop that. So theoretically, you watch this, you watch season 1, and then you watch season 2, and I could drop season 2 review. We all be chilling, right? So get ready for that. I'm sorry, I just did alright movement, and Mike just did crazy movement. I'm sorry about all that. But yeah, thank you for watching if you watch. Like the video if you liked it. Comment something down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.